Focus is not born from passion or fleeting motivation. It is forged through discipline, the relentless control of self when the body resists and the mind rebels. Desire whispers promises of comfort, of pleasure, of instant satisfaction, but discipline speaks in silence, in repetition, in the language of restraint. Those who live by desire are slaves to its rhythm. Those who live by discipline command the rhythm itself. The mind is a battlefield where impulse and order wage a daily war, and only the disciplined emerge as rulers of that territory. Desire makes you chase what shines, even if it burns you. It tempts you with ease and illusion, telling you that fulfillment lies in indulgence. But discipline strips away illusion. It teaches that fulfillment is not the reward of desire, but the result of endurance. The one who follows desire obeys weakness. The one who practices discipline masters strength. To increase focus, you must kill the illusion that you must feel ready, inspired, or excited. You must act regardless of feeling. Action without emotion is pure power. When you move forward even when you do not wish to, you command not only your body but your entire fate. Every distraction you surrender to is a moment of power lost. Every time you yield to comfort, your control decays. The disciplined man knows that attention is a weapon sharper than any blade. To wield it, he builds habits that suffocate temptation. He does not wait for perfect conditions. He bends the conditions to his will. He rises when he is tired, works when he is unmotivated, and continues when all others stop. This constancy carves his path through chaos. Focus is not granted, it is taken through deliberate suffering, through saying no to the easy path 1,000 times until refusal becomes instinct. Discipline transforms chaos into structure. It creates order in the mind, and order gives birth to clarity. Those ruled by desire wander from one goal to another, guided by pleasure and emotion. They call it freedom, but it is nothing more than a chain disguised as choice. Discipline is true freedom, the ability to act independent of weakness, to dictate your own motion. Freedom without control leads to ruin. Control without freedom leads to power. The disciplined person does not chase focus. He creates it by binding his mind to a single pursuit and cutting away all that does not serve it. There is no external enemy greater than internal indulgence. Distraction is not something that attacks from the outside. It grows from within, from the craving for stimulation, for escape, for the comfort of inaction. Discipline is the knife that severs these roots. It requires the courage to be alone with your thoughts, to confront the boredom and resistance that others flee from. When you can remain still in discomfort, when you can hold your attention in the fire without looking away, your focus multiplies. The world begins to move slower around you. Time bends to your intent. Desire is temporary. Discipline is eternal. Desire fades as soon as it is fed, demanding more each time. Discipline, however, grows stronger the more it is practiced. It turns effort into habit, and habit into character. The disciplined individual does not ask for motivation, he generates it through movement. Each task completed strengthens the chain of command between mind and action. There is no negotiation, no debate, no inner vote. There is only execution. This unwavering state of purpose is what separates those who think from those who do, those who plan from those who achieve. Discipline requires sacrifice. You must give up comfort, entertainment, and approval. You must learn to be misunderstood, to walk paths where no one applauds, to pursue mastery when others are content with mediocrity. The pursuit of focus demands solitude and patience. It is not glamorous, it is not loud. It is repetition, precision, and consistency performed in the shadows until results shine in daylight. The world praises outcomes, but the disciplined worship process. They understand that focus is not a moment of brilliance. It is a lifetime of controlled repetition. In the realm of discipline, excuses do not exist. There is no later, no maybe, no when I feel like it. There is only the command to act and the obedience to that command. Discipline does not tolerate softness. It crushes hesitation under the weight of purpose. The mind must be trained to obey your will as a soldier obeys his leader without question, without delay. Every time you choose action over indulgence, you reinforce your command. Every time you obey desire, you surrender authority. To achieve unwavering focus, one must understand that discipline is not punishment. It is liberation from weakness. It is the realization that pleasure is the reward of restraint, not indulgence. Desire will tell you to seek comfort now. Discipline tells you to earn it later. And in that delay lies transformation. The disciplined person becomes unshaken by noise, unmoved by temptation, unbroken by fatigue. His vision pierces through distraction because his mind no longer bends to it. Discipline is the architecture of power. Without it, focus collapses under the weight of inconsistency. With it, the impossible becomes methodical, the distant becomes inevitable. Focus is not a mystical state, but a consequence, the natural byproduct of mastering desire and commanding oneself through will alone. Power begins within the mind. It is not measured by wealth, status, or the obedience of others, but by the ability to command one's own thoughts, emotions, and actions. Control is the foundation of all influence, for how can one direct the world if one cannot direct oneself? Focus is not a natural gift. It is the product of internal order, the mastery of the forces that seek to scatter attention and weaken intent. The one who controls his inner world shapes his outer world according to his will. Most people live as if their minds are open fields where any thought may enter and plant its roots. They allow fear, doubt, and distraction to grow wild, choking the crops of purpose. True control is the cultivation of that field, removing weeds, shaping the soil, deciding with precision which thoughts deserve life. To increase focus is to seize ownership of the mind, to refuse entry to the useless and the weak. When you choose what to think, what to ignore, what to believe, and what to pursue, you rise above the chaos that rules ordinary men. Control demands observation. You must watch yourself as if you are a stranger, studying the rise and fall of emotion without letting it consume you. Anger, impatience, desire, these are tools when governed, but poison when left free. A person who cannot control emotion becomes predictable, and the predictable can be manipulated. The one who governs emotion, however, becomes unreadable, untouchable, and ultimately unstoppable. Focus flourishes in such stillness. When emotion cannot sway you, when impulses cannot command you, every decision becomes deliberate, and every action powerful. Control extends to speech and reaction. The disciplined individual does not waste words. He measures them. He does not respond to insult with emotion or to praise with pride. Both are traps that steal focus and grant power to others. Silence is a weapon that unsettles those who depend on your response. Restraint is a form of dominance that requires no noise, no display, only the calm certainty of one who does not need to prove his strength. To master focus, you must master reaction, for distraction often enters through provocation. The pursuit of control requires the rejection of dependency. Those who rely on constant stimulation, validation, or external structure are prisoners of the world's rhythm. They react rather than act, consuming what is given rather than creating what is needed. True control is independence from these chains. It is the ability to remain centered when the world shifts, to hold the line when chaos screams for attention. In control, there is calm. In calm, there is focus. Every distraction that falls before your will is a step toward sovereignty over the self. Time itself bends to those who control it. Most squander it as if endless, moving from one distraction to another, scattering their attention until nothing remains. But the controlled mind measures time as currency. Every minute has a purpose, every action a place within a greater design. Such a person does not live by chance, but by structure. Focus multiplies under such discipline, for when time is respected, it rewards you with clarity. The hours obey the one who commands them with intention. Control is not the suppression of desire, but the direction of it. Desire, when left wild, is chaos. When harnessed, it becomes fuel. The wise channel their hunger toward purpose. They transform craving into drive, impatience into strategy, emotion into energy. This is the alchemy of control, turning disorder into momentum. The focused individual does not deny emotion. He uses it as a servant. Anger becomes determination, fear becomes awareness, desire becomes purpose. Each feeling obeys the master of the mind, not the other way around. The loss of control is the beginning of defeat. Every moment you act without awareness, you surrender ground to distraction. The modern world thrives on stealing focus, every sound, every notification, every display designed to divide your attention. To remain in control is to stand as a fortress against this invasion. You must build barriers around your attention, protecting it as a king guards his throne. The mind cannot serve two masters. It either serves your will or it serves the noise. Control ensures that your focus belongs only to you. Power gained through control is silent but absolute. It does not shout, it directs. It does not seek permission, it enforces will through consistency. Those who possess it move with purpose in every gesture, every word, every pause. Focus follows them because their energy is unified, unbroken by distraction or doubt. Others scatter their strength trying to do many things. The controlled individual channels his strength toward one decisive point. This concentration of effort is what makes him effective, feared, and ultimately respected. Control also governs perception. To maintain focus, you must see the world as it is, not as emotion paints it. Illusion clouds judgment, and judgment directs action. The controlled mind strips away sentiment and looks upon reality with clear eyes. It asks, what is useful, what is necessary, what must be done. Emotion answers with comfort, reason answers with truth. Focus thrives on truth, for truth provides direction without distortion. To practice control, one must constantly test it. Challenge brings chaos, and chaos reveals whether discipline is genuine or merely pretended. In moments of pressure, the uncontrolled crumble, but the one who rules himself stands calm, calculating, deliberate. Focus becomes sharper under adversity because control refuses to break. Such steadiness is not natural, it is built through repetition, through daily acts of restraint, through conscious rejection of weakness. Each time you resist what seeks to rule you, you reclaim a piece of your strength. Control is the seed from which all power grows. Without it, effort is scattered, focus is lost, and potential remains unused. The individual who governs his thoughts, emotions, and actions governs his fate. He walks through chaos untouched because his center cannot be shaken. In a world that demands reaction, the one who remains composed commands attention, respect, and inevitability. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of control. It is the condition where thought can breathe, where the noise of the world is stripped away, leaving only the truth of one's own mind. Solitude is not isolation, it is the deliberate withdrawal from chaos to sharpen perception. Together, silence and solitude forge focus into a weapon. Those who fear being alone never hear their own voice. They drown in the echoes of others. The one who seeks mastery embraces silence as the crucible where strength is refined. The world teaches dependence on noise. Every screen flashes, every voice competes for attention, every distraction demands that you listen. In such an environment, few ever discover what their mind is capable of when it is uninterrupted. Noise keeps you comfortable because it keeps you from thinking deeply. It shields you from confronting your own weakness, your doubts, your lack of discipline. But in solitude, there is no such refuge. There, the mind faces itself raw, exposed, unguarded. This confrontation is what gives birth to focus. In silence, the illusions of motivation, inspiration, and external validation vanish, and what remains is your will alone. Solitude teaches the language of patience. The world moves quickly, but the mind does not truly grow in haste. Focus expands in stillness, where thought can settle and vision can clear. Those who cannot sit in silence without agitation are already ruled by the outer world. They require stimulation to feel alive, distraction to escape the emptiness they refuse to understand. Yet that emptiness is the birthplace of mastery. Within it lies the space where purpose can be built. Every great thought, every plan of dominance, every vision that reshapes the future begins first in solitude, where no one applauds and no one interferes. Silence also teaches observation. The one who speaks less hears more. The one who withdraws from noise begins to see what others overlook. The quiet mind perceives patterns in chaos, motives behind words, weaknesses beneath confidence. In silence, the world reveals itself without disguise. Those who crave attention miss these truths, for their energy is spent on being seen, not on seeing. Focus demands the humility to step back, to listen, to watch. The quiet mind becomes a mirror, reflecting the world exactly as it is, unclouded by emotion or vanity. The power of silence lies in its discomfort. When you first retreat into it, you will feel restlessness, the urge to escape, to check, to talk, to move. That restlessness is the voice of addiction to noise. Discipline requires that you remain still. Each time you resist the impulse to fill the quiet, you grow stronger. The silence that once threatened you begins to obey you. What was once empty becomes productive. Focus deepens not because you do more, but because you remove what is unnecessary. The mind, freed from interruption, gathers its strength like water behind a dam, ready to strike with precision. Solitude is a test of self-sufficiency. It asks whether you can sustain your own thoughts without the comfort of others. It reveals whether your goals are truly your own or borrowed from the crowd. Many claim ambition, but their ambition is imitation inherited from the noise of others. Only in solitude do you discover which desires belong to you. When the voices fade, when approval disappears, when there is no one to impress, your purpose either collapses or solidifies. Focus born from solitude is unbreakable because it is not built on the applause of the world. It is built on conviction. Silence strengthens decision. When you are surrounded by noise, opinions infiltrate your judgment. You begin to think as others think, want as others want, believe as others believe. Solitude cleanses the mind of these intrusions. It gives space to evaluate without influence. In the quiet, every idea must justify itself. Every doubt must be faced directly. The process is not gentle. It strips you of excuses, but from this stripping comes clarity. The focused mind knows what it must do because it has faced every alternative in silence and dismissed the unnecessary. In silence, time changes, moments stretch. You begin to notice the subtle workings of your own mind, how distraction arises, how emotion distorts thought, how impulse interrupts focus. With awareness comes control. You start to direct your attention consciously, shaping thought rather than reacting to it. Solitude becomes a training ground where concentration is strengthened through observation and restraint. The ability to remain still in thought, to hold attention on one subject without drifting, is the essence of focus. Silence gives you this power because it removes every excuse not to use it. Solitude also cultivates independence. Those who cannot function alone cannot lead. Dependence on constant communication weakens resolve. The solitary learn to generate their own motivation, their own validation, their own energy. They do not need to be reminded of their purpose. They live within it. When they act, it is not to be seen but to achieve. Focus thrives in such independence because there is no external distraction to distort intent. Solitude, when embraced, becomes strength disguised as stillness. The one who commands silence commands himself. He does not flee from his thoughts. He examines them, disciplines them, and directs them. His solitude is not loneliness but strategy. While others seek company to escape their minds, he seeks quiet to sharpen his. The noise weakens the will, silence hardens it. In solitude, the mind no longer bends to the world bends to the mind that has learned to listen to nothing but its own deliberate thought. Focus is not a talent granted by chance. It is a force built through discipline, control, and solitude. It is the quiet rebellion against the weakness of comfort and the noise of distraction. Discipline shapes your will into command. Control directs that command toward purpose, and silence gives it the space to grow undisturbed. These three forces form the foundation of strength, the ability to choose your thoughts, to act without hesitation, and to stand firm while the world loses itself in chaos. The path to focus is not gentle, for it demands the sacrifice of ease and the rejection of indulgence. It requires you to confront yourself in silence, to master your emotions, and to rise above the constant pull of distraction. Yet those who walk this path gain what others cannot: clarity of vision, precision of action, and the power to move through life with intent. When the mind becomes your servant rather than your master, no obstacle can deter you, no noise can weaken you, and no chaos can sway you. True focus is sovereignty over the self. It is the art of directing every thought, every emotion, and every movement toward a singular aim. It is the quiet strength of one who no longer reacts to the world but commands it. Through discipline, you forge order. Through control, you wield power. Through silence, you find mastery. And in that mastery lies the mind unshaken, the will unbroken, and the path illuminated by purpose.